What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my main event breakdown and prediction for UFC Vegas 76. We have Sean Strickland going against Abus Magomedov.
I need all the wins, yeah. All that and all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out.
And we are back breaking down another main event this week. Breaking down, we got an Apex card here, UFC Vegas 76, Sean Strickland, Abus Magomedov. We got a 5-round fight here, a fight that doesn't make much sense to me. A fight where we have Abus Magomedov fighting Dustin Stoltzfus in his debut, and then instantly just jumping to a main event slot against Sean Strickland. So I guess the UFC has a lot of faith in Magomedov here, and it's going to be an interesting fight. Can't wait to break it down. Before we do so, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. It is always appreciated. Back on track here. So the full card breakdown should be out by Monday. I have all 12 of the fights taped. Just have to hit record there. So make sure you subscribe, turn on the post notifications because the breakdown will be out early this week. And then I'll also be getting out UFC 290 very, very early. Maybe even Friday or Saturday. I'm going to the card, so I want to get that all taped, ready to go. So early breakdowns coming in the next 2 weeks here. But yeah, looking forward to this card. I'd say. I mean, it's not the best card in the world, but with that said, last week I said that UFC Jacksonville is going to be an absolute banger from top to bottom. It wasn't. I mean, there's some good fights, but this is hopefully a card that surprises and plays out very fun. And I think this main event's going to be a solid one for sure. But I say we get into it. We're going to start with Sean Strickland here, who is 32 years old, 6'1", with a 76-inch reach, 26-5 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Abus Magomedov, he is 32 years old, 6'2", with a 78-inch reach, 25-3-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So we'll take a look at the odds here, and we see that Sean Strickland around -170. Abus Magomedov is sitting at around +145 there. So yeah, like I said earlier, it's a fight that when I saw it was announced and that it was a 5-round main event, I was kind of surprised, to be honest, because Abus Magomedov I think is a really good fighter. He's a very experienced fighter. He's fought in the PFL. He's fought some very good guys outside of the UFC. But this is going to be his second fight in the UFC, and he's already getting a 5-round main event against the guy in Sean Strickland, who's one of the best guys in the division. But yeah, he went out there against Dustin Stoltzfus, and then he knocked him out in 19 seconds. He hurt him on the feet, ended up finishing him shortly after. Very quick knockout. Good win. I mean, Dustin Stoltzfus, maybe not the best fighter in the world. I'm not sure if I think Stoltzfus might be even cut at this point, but he went out there and handled it very accordingly and knocked out Stoltzfus. But I mean, that doesn't really tell me anything here about Abus Magomedov. Went and watched a good amount of tape on him. You can tell, like, throughout the later part of his career, he's starting to, put some wrestling together. Like, early in his career, we didn't see a ton of wrestling offensively out of Magomedov. But, as of late, he's starting to mix in some takedowns. His grappling's looking a lot better. So he's really rounding out his game. But yeah, now he's 32 years old, making his main event debut here against Sean Strickland. And it's I don't know what's going on here. Sean Strickland just fought the much better guys by a mile. I mean, you talk about Abus. Yes, he's fought some solid guys outside the UFC, but obviously Dustin Stoltzfus. You got Sean Strickland going 5 rounds with Nasruddin Imavov, and that's impressive to me considering Sean Strickland came in like out of shape. I think it was like a week's notice, maybe less, and he looked good across 5 rounds. Slowed down a little bit in the 5th, but he went out there and beat Nasruddin Imavov pretty handedly there. Against Jared Cannonier, a lot of people thought that Sean Strickland won that fight. He outlands him in terms of the numbers. It's Cannonier landing those big shots, but a very, very close competitive fight, split decision loss against Jared Cannonier. And then obviously loses against Alex Pereira, but he's beat Jack Hermanson, he's beat Uriah Hall, he's beat Brendan Allen, he's beat some very good guys throughout his career. So I think Sean Strickland is a very good fighter. He's a very experienced fighter. He has that 5-round experience, and he has a lot of experience against really, really good competition. So they're like throwing Magomedov to the wolves here in a way. I mean, I think the UFC must be like super high on this guy, but we'll have to see. I mean, I don't expect Magomedov to go out there and wrestle Sean Strickland across 25 minutes. I think if Magomedov wins this fight, it's probably going to have to be like an early knockout, and Sean Strickland's super durable. Sean Strickland was able to eat like 141 strikes from a hard hitter in Jared Cannonier. His only knockout losses come to Alex Pereira and then Elias Zaleski dos Santos. But other than that, he's super durable. And, back to the takedown defense with Sean Strickland. On paper, it's 85%. The last time he's been taken down was like 6 years ago against Kamaru Usman back in like 2017, where Usman went 2 for 8 on takedowns. So I don't think Magomedov is going to come out here and wrestle Sean Strickland, have success wrestling with Sean Strickland. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think these guys are going to strike, and I think these guys are going to strike for 25 minutes. And what does Magomedov's cardio look like in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round? What does it look like when it gets extended here? Whereas we know with Sean Strickland, he can go 25 minutes, no problem, all day, every day. It's just, can Sean Strickland's chin hold up from some of these big shots he is going to have to eat? So I like Sean Strickland here. I think the line's about right, to be honest. Minus 170 seems about right to me, minus 175. I think it's going to be competitive, especially early on. But just down the stretch, I see Sean Strickland just taking over. I feel like it could look a lot like the Imavov fight, even where very, very competitive early. Just down the stretch, Sean Strickland starts to get the better of Magomedov here. So I like Sean Strickland. And obviously, when you pick Sean Strickland, you pick him to win by decision. He's not really finishing anybody outside of Brendan Allen, Nordine Taleb back in like 2018. But other than that, it's pretty much decision. So Sean Strickland by decision. I think if there is a finish in this matchup, it is probably Magomedov by knockout, which would be pretty annoying, to be honest, because I think Sean Strickland should win this fight. But yeah, just a weird main event in my opinion. Magomedov just really climbing up the ranks. Like, I'm not sure what Sean Strickland is like ranked in terms of the middleweight division, but it's got to be like around top 5. So Sean Strickland is ranked he's set ranked 7th. So Paulo Costa and Dricus are ranked ahead of Sean Strickland. So Dricus shot up a bunch of spots in Paulo Costa. So yeah, Sean Strickland ranked 7th. So yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, if Magomedov wins this fight, I mean that's huge for him. I mean, if Magomedov wins this fight, he's already in the top 10. So we'll see. So I think Magomedov's a good fighter. It's just like this is like one of the bigger steps up in competition like I've ever seen. Going from Dustin Stoltzfus, who he may or may not be cut. Maybe he's still in the UFC. I could have sworn I saw Dustin Stoltzfus was cut to a guy in Sean Strickland who's been in the UFC for a very long time. Made his debut in the UFC back in 2014. He's fought, the who's who in the division, right? So going from a guy like Dustin Stoltzfus to Sean Strickland is just a massive step up in competition that can't be ignored. So, yeah, I like Sean Strickland here. So I'm gonna take Sean Strickland, take him by decision. If you like Magomedov, you probably take him by finish. I mean, if this fight goes the full 25, I mean, you never know with the corrupt judges. Maybe the judges score it wrong, all that. And maybe it is like a split decision because, a lot of people, like I said, thought Sean Strickland beat Jared Cannonier. You never know. If it goes to decision, we could get some pretty crazy scorecards. So, but I do think Sean Strickland gets it done. That is the prediction for this week. Not my favorite main event in the world. Not sure how other people feel about it. I remember where Sean Strickland had 2 main events in the row. I think he ended 2022 with the main event. And then he, which was Jared Cannonier, and I think he started 2023 with the main event. I remember people weren't too happy about it because Sean Strickland, I think his fights are decent, they're fun, but a lot of people don't seem to like his fights. So I'm curious to hear some people's thoughts about this main event in general. For me, it doesn't make a ton of sense to me from like a matchup perspective, but in terms of how it's going to play out, I think it's a pretty solid fight. It should be a fun fight. It's a fight that I'm excited about, and I'm definitely going to watch. It's not like Topuria Emmett type excitement, but it's a fight that should bring some excitement to the table for sure. So be on the lookout for the UFC Vegas 76 breakdown. We've had a ton of new fights added, new fighters added, a couple newcomers this card. It's going to be a pretty interesting card for Vegas 76. I've already taped all 12 fights, all ready to go for the card. Just have to record, so it's going to be out probably early Monday there. So be on the lookout for that. And then, of course, I'll be live throughout the week, Friday for the final thoughts video, and then Saturday for the best bet video as well. Best of luck, guys, with UFC Vegas 76. It should be a decent card. And we'll talk to you guys very soon. See you later, and see you.